All right, it's diabolical question time. Go ahead. What is it?
So more of a diabolical theory, but I'd like to know whether you think this is something that truly exists in some capacity.
All right.
So we're having fun with the LeBron stuff over the weekend. I had some tweets regarding that. The streets were talking. It seemed like LeBron was doing everything he could, just at the very least, to get the messaging out that he's home. He's working out in the Cavs facility.
Well, he always works out the Cavs
facility. That's what he says. Yeah, that's what he says. We'd never seen any pictures of that before, but he was proudly displaying that over the weekend. He was, golfing at a local country club there, probably the one that I would imagine is closest to where he stays over there near Bath Township.
I'm not that familiar with the geography, but yeah, fine.
Yeah, so all of this was going on. Then you had Brian Windhorst and others around the league starting to talk about whether LeBron even wants to be in Los Angeles. And then there was a report that the Lakers, whether they even want to be in business with LeBron. It's the first time that we have ever seen LeBron be in a situation where he doesn't control the cards. He doesn't have the leverage that LeBron is used to having. So we're having fun with that over the weekend. And I got to tell you, the amount of responses of wouldn't take him for free, meaning because we're starting to see scenarios where maybe there would be a buyout. Maybe he would just be available in the offseason for the veteran minimum, whatever. Yeah, we're getting pie in the sky, whatever. But It's a fun conversation to have. And everybody I know was talking about whether LeBron would be back. And yet lots were in my mentions saying, not only do we not want him, I wouldn't take him for free. And that was so odd to me. Like people, I've tried to tell people, maybe you just weren't watching the Lakers last year. LeBron was a top 10 player in the league. He was all NBA second team. And that wasn't a final season tribute award. So I put all that together. And I got to say, I think there are people who would rather run it back with this core and not win a title, but at least take the chance of continuing to run it back rather than have a chance at a championship with LeBron, because they don't want this city linked to LeBron any more than we already are after 2016. I am telling you that I think people would rather not even take the chance. They hate that guy. Again, vocal minority, obviously. LeBron is beloved in a lot of parts of Northeast Ohio for what he did and what he's done for this franchise.
That's what throws it off from it being, you know what? I can't say it's as diabolical as you make it out to be. Because if you're saying that it's a vocal minority,
but very vocal.
Okay, I mean, but if it's a vast vocal minority, then why do I like? If somebody in the alley over here is ranting and raving about God knows what, well, I'm going to hear them. It's not one person
raving. It is. I bet if you opened up the lines right now, we would get flooded with people that said rather have a chance to try to win it without him, as opposed to, hey, we have a team that everybody thinks has limitations mentally and physically. Their own GM has said it. Their own coaches said it. Their own players have said it. And yet LeBron, who's been to the top of the sport, is going to go down in history as either the best or the second best player to ever do it. He's one of the most famous people, not athletes, most famous people in the world. He is a self-made billionaire when all is said and done. Has a chance to own an NBA franchise coming.
Well, they don't care about that.
Coming from the Spring Hill Apartments.
Unless he owns this.
He's been able to do all of that, and yet there are people who hate his guts. Here in Northeast Ohio, where nobody should hate his guts.
All right, you have to guarantee,
Zero people should hate LeBron James's guts. But yet I'm getting flooded with them
to make it truly diabolical. You can't leave a chance. You have to say no winning. They don't win a championship without LeBron. That's what makes it a diabolical question. Because if you leave it open, like I was willing to tell you over the last 2 years, now it's changed considerably. Now I had to flip-flop after the Pacers series. I go, no, they don't have whatever's missing is missing. And I think that, yeah, if he's available and they can swing it, yeah, because I only think that they only have 2 more years left. But up until now, up until this last year or this last postseason run, which wasn't a run, I would have said, no, why do we need to have this conversation again? Why do we need to do this again with LeBron? Why do we have great memories with LeBron the first time? Why do I have to try to run it back and have a trifecta of this, even though it would only be a sequel if they won? Why do I need to do that? So you have to say absolutely not winning. that they would rather lose with this team, lose an NBA Finals with this team.
Juices it up. Whatever.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
But that's the only way you're going to get the true haters out. But that's the only way you're going to get the same
people that don't want anything to do with him. They think because he left us 2 times that he's like the worst person in the world. Yeah,
but like,
then of course they throw in the politics. Like I don't care.
Well, I know you don't care about that. Neither do I.
I'll take a guy that believes in the complete opposite of my whole ideology. If it helps us win a championship, I don't care. I don't care. And I think you're a loser if you care about that to that extent, that you've been brainwashed by whatever, cable news network that you bow down to every night.
Now we're getting strong.
Whatever.
Here.
I don't care. I just want guys that can help us win. And like, if you're telling me whether or not I'd like my chances more in this all-time bad Eastern Conference next year, that people just want to run it back because they know it's an easy conference. So they think that'll prove the whole thing correct. Even though you and I both know you'll be massive underdogs in the championship against an Oklahoma City team or whoever comes out of the West. Fine. But you know for a fact they are a better team with LeBron James than without him next year.
Well, yeah, you're not getting a fight out of me.
Like, they're more mentally tough. They're more physically tough. They're more athletic. Believe it or not, LeBron at 41 next year is going to be way more athletic than just about anything you have.
For half the year or part of the year.
Yeah. He's still going to be more athletic than anybody that you have, right?
Yes.
Who's the better athlete right now on the Cavs than LeBron James? And by the way, he is also the second most durable guy in this conversation. The only Cav that's been more durable than him is Jared Allen over the last 2 years.
And you're willing to give him up for LeBron James?
Yeah, but why not? In this scenario, I said wouldn't have to.
Well,
you just get him.
Because I think you'll get, again, up until this last playoff run, I would have said, why do we have to have this LeBron conversation again? When are we ever going to get out from underneath the shadow? And I think that's a lot to do with why I was upset with how they lost and how upset I was that they lost, is that you knew this conversation was going to happen again, and that you knew we'd be back under the rain cloud or whatever cloud that was going to be of LeBron James, because it's a conversation that never stops. He will not allow it to stop. He likes attention. He likes people paying attention to him and seeing whether or not that he can get people talking about him again. As a person who likes attention, I can tell you that that's why he does these things.
Okay, there is a faction of Clevelanders that used to call themselves, or maybe they still do, big sports fans, that hate the fact that he is now synonymous, Cleveland sports and LeBron James synonymous. If you ask anybody around the country, what do you think of when you think of Cleveland sports? Do you think they're saying the 3-14 Browns? They're saying LeBron. LeBron brought this city a championship. Yes, nobody else has. And yet those people would sit there and say, I don't want him.
Yeah, I know they would, because they already got their championship.
That's absolutely incredible to me.
And you also have the people who are like a guy like Jeff Phelps. Jeff Phelps is a nurturer. He loves watching young teams build and blossom to even get to like the second round. He loves that sort of thing. At least that's the way he sounds on the air. So if you say there's a possibility of winning a championship without LeBron, they'll call in and say they'd rather have the chance to roll the dice and win the championship without LeBron. If you're leaving me the possibility, I would love to be able to prove for my own good. Let me tell you this. For my own personal sanity, I would love for a Cavs team to prove with a championship that you could win one without LeBron. Because then for the rest of my life, if I live until I'm 41, if I live until I'm 93, for the rest of my life, I will think there's a possibility without LeBron. Because right after he left in 2018, I go, I don't know how I'm going to speak about this team for the rest of my life, because I don't think that there's a chance. And now with the new CBA rules, there seems to be a chance. If they did it without him, I go, okay, there's definitely a chance, because it's been proven to me right in front of my eyes that they can do this thing without LeBron in a city like Cleveland. And if it stays the same way it is, maybe there will be another generation of players. So if you're leaving me a possibility to roll the dice, I might actually roll the dice with anybody else. But if you're saying no championship without LeBron, championship with LeBron, obviously you're going to take guys like you and me, and I would assume Owen and I would assume Meredith, they're going to take the championship with LeBron.
Well, then I would also ask, like, let's say the Knicks have been mentioned as another team, right? That maybe they would make a big trade given the players that are contract that they have that are still really good, that they could make a trade for LeBron. Do you think you got a better shot, the Cavs with LeBron or the Cavs without LeBron, and say a team like the Knicks with LeBron? Then you have to go through them. I mean, we already saw what happened in a slugfest type series against the Knicks a couple of years ago, and I don't know if we evolved all that much since then. We have a new coach, but it looked the exact same as last year.
Yeah.
And then you were to add LeBron to that Knicks team. Yeah, I'd pick the Knicks.
Yes, you would.
Maybe our fans wouldn't, but
oh, come on. Yes, you would.
I don't know.
Any team in the East that added LeBron, yes, you would, including the Cavaliers. That's why I want the Cavaliers to add him.